has the time gone? Hey everyone, Templar74 here with another video, and today's video is going to be my annual hashtag AskTemplar74 end of year Q&A for 2023. And I gotta be honest with you guys, this year just flew by. It seems like yesterday was New Year's, and now we're looking at 2024. Yeah, this year just kind of went by in a flash. And can I just say, why is it that all of the 2020s so far have seemed to have sucked royally, or something catastrophic has happened? Like, can we just have 1 year where nothing catastrophic is happening? That's all we ask. But I digress on that. Not the point of this video. So yeah, anyway, I'm here to answer your questions. As I say in all of my videos, these are probably my favorite ones to do, my end of year and mid-year Q&As, just because I get a chance to interact with all you guys some more. And that's really what it's all about at the end of the day. Like I said, I don't really make any money doing this. This is just a hobby, and I do it because of the community, and I like interacting with you guys. But yeah, so without further ado, let's get into your questions. These are just how I'm reading them, and I'm reading them from, well, I guess YouTube isn't going to tell me what order I'm reading them in, so they're probably going to be all out of order. But anyway, yeah, let's go ahead and get started, everybody. All right, first up we have Jessica Friedman, 4431, and you said, would I like to see a Yu-Gi-Oh series with a female protagonist, for example, maybe Yugi and Teia's daughter, and which questions you wish they had answered? Ash's final season arc in Pokemon. Okay, which questions do you wish they had answered? Okay, so as far as the Yu-Gi-Oh series with a female protagonist, I'm all for it. I've actually said this for years now. I don't know why we can't get it, but yeah, I'm not opposed to the idea. In fact, I've actually championed the idea for a while now that it would be a nice change. I argued that at the end of Reigns, and Sevens, that we should get a female protagonist, and what we get? We got a space alien protagonist. But yeah, I mean, we've had spirits, we've had criminals, we've had space aliens, we've had young, old. Why not make a female lead, Yu-Gi-Oh? Let's get into the 21st century here. But yeah, I'm not entirely opposed to that. I don't know if I'd go the route that you're suggesting, but yeah, I really don't have a problem with a female Yu-Gi-Oh protagonist. More power to them if they do it. But the maybe being a daughter of some former protagonist, I don't think I'd go in that direction. It just doesn't fit the vibe of Yu-Gi-Oh, to be honest with you. But yeah. And then your other one, you said, which questions would I have wished they had answered during Ash's final season arc on Pokemon? Okay, so there were actually a couple. The first one, which I guess they iterated it a little bit at the end, but, you know, when we got the final definition of what is a Pokemon Master, we know what Ash is aiming for. You know, that was great, and I guess in retrospect we did get a conclusion on that, but we only got Ash's interpretation. We still don't know exactly what a Pokemon Master is. I guess we know what Ash's definition of it is, and I guess that's good enough, but yeah, I would have liked to have seen that. I would have liked to have seen Ash's father being revealed, just not a random tease episode like the one we got. That was a big disappointment. And those were the two big ones that came to mind, to be honest with you. There are probably more that I'm not thinking of right off the top of my head, but those are the two big ones that just kind of popped up out of nowhere. Also, another one that I would have liked to have seen were what were Ash's thoughts about all of his companions. I mean, we know vaguely what it is, but did he have any other kind of thoughts, any different reactions or anything like that? Again, these are all just nice things to know of, but again, those were the two main ones right off the top of my head, Jessica. So anyway, those were your questions. I hope I answered them as well as I could, and I hope 2023 was good to you, and 2024 will be even better. Okay, next up we have Minor Mole 101. first question was any indie games or shows that I've seen or played and maybe enjoyed. For me, I'd say The Amazing Digital Circus for indie show and then their games. I can tell you significantly more, like Cuphead, Kessely, A Hat in Time, Mulaka, the list goes on. First of all, before I go on to number 2, I really am not big into indie games. I never really have been, or shows, so I couldn't honestly answer that question. It's a topic or a genre that I've never really gotten into, surprisingly. But yeah, so I really don't have anything to say or add on to one. Your second question, though, were thoughts on Pokemon Horizons up till now. Sure, a few duds, but it has been a lot overall more positive. And I agree with you. It's definitely been a breath of fresh air. Mostly positives for me. But yeah, you also are getting used to Liko and Roy's story. Okay, so first of all, I agree with you 100%. Pokemon Horizons has had a few duds, but in my opinion, yeah, I agree with you 100%. Overall positives. Liko and Roy's story is a little bit of fresh air. It's nothing against Ash, like you said. It's just Ash was getting stale, and I had said that for years by this point. But yeah, overall, Pokemon Horizons mostly positive. I'm looking forward to seeing what more they have in the future. But right now, I can't really say anything bad about it. It's had a couple of duds, but what series hasn't, in my opinion? And then I know you have done these Q&A videos for several years now. What made you decide to do these? Again, these are probably my favorite videos to do every year, just because, sure, this is my hobby and I talk about things that I like and things that are bizarre in my life and all that other good stuff. But these are arguably my favorite ones to do just because I get to interact with all of you guys. I really would like to consider everybody on the channel as a friend. I may never meet you face to face, but I look at everybody that supports me as a friend. Yeah, I basically do it because I genuinely enjoy interacting with you guys, and I figured this was a good way to not only learn more about all you guys, but you guys could learn a little bit more about me. Everybody could grow a little bit closer in the process, and I truly do enjoy interacting with you guys. I just don't always get the chance to, which is something that really disappoints me. But between having a family and 2 full-time careers, I don't get to interact with you guys as much as I like. So these videos are a breath of fresh air because, I mean, this is a hobby that I've done for years now, and I really do enjoy interacting with you guys. And I may not always get the chance to do it during the year all the time, but yeah, I genuinely do interact with you guys, or I like to try anyway. I think I said this last year where somebody asked me roundabout why I even do this or ask for opinions. I do read most of the comments. I just never get a chance to interact with them all just because I'm so busy. But yeah, anyway, Minor Mole, I'm rambling. Those were your questions. I hope I answered them to the best of my ability. Yeah, so I hope you had a great 2023, and we'll have an amazing 2024. All right, next up we have, oh boy, I know that I'm going to butcher this pronunciation, and I apologize way in advance. Arturio Sanchez Roges 3352. Again, I apologize deeply if I just completely butchered that. I'm trying my best. So anyway, you said, wish me the best of luck for another year, and if mispronounced my name, you're forgiven. Oh, thank God, I didn't get that far yet, but thank you so much for already allowing me that forgiveness. So yeah, anyway, your 3 questions were, have I caught up with Spy Family, and if so, what is your favorite moment? 2, are you worried that this year is quiet with SAO content? And 3, if you would make a tragic character in Pokemon, what would be the setting? Okay, first up, number 1, have you caught up with Spy Times Family? I have gotten about halfway through the 2nd season. I've tried to stay up to date on it. I can't say that I've completely caught up on it, at least I don't think. I'd have to pull up my anime watch list. But I have been watching it, and if I haven't completely caught up yet, I will get caught up with it eventually. That is one of my top priorities right at the moment. So yeah, I've kept fairly up to date with it. I would probably have to say that my favorite moment so far was when Lloyd basically told Yor, "Why don't we go out on a date?" Like, that was kind of my favorite thing. I mean, the whole romantic comedy is the whole skip part of this thing, but the meat and potatoes, I guess I should say. But that was one of my favorite moments. Just the genuine interaction between these two is just mind-boggling and funny, and I thoroughly enjoy it. To your second question, am I worried that this year is quiet with SAO content? I wouldn't necessarily say that it is. We've got a new GGO coming out. Not entirely sure when yet, but I've got a feeling we're going to get more information in 2024. Probably winter of next year is going to be my bet on its release, so probably right about this time next year we'll be getting it. Games are always fun, and we may even get another SAO movie. Don't quote me on that, but I got a feeling that's what's going to happen. There have been whispers that once GGO wraps up this new season that we may finally get Unital Rising adaptation for the mainline anime, because that's what they did the last time. Was they took a break, did the alternative season 1, and then as soon as alternative season 1 was over, we jumped right into Alicization. I actually wouldn't be completely surprised if that ends up happening again this year. Fingers crossed. But anyway, those are just my thoughts on it. I don't necessarily think it's going to be a quiet year, but I think the first part of the year is going to be a little bit dry. But no, it doesn't concern me. I think it just is building up hype for season 2 of GGO. Like I said, first season was an absolute banger. I don't even think that the makers of the SAO anime could have imagined how successful GGO was going to be. It's kind of mind-boggling that and I've seen so many videos and comments and thread boards saying SAO, but SAO done right. I disagree with that part of it, but it's just mind-boggling how positive that series was released to. And yeah, definitely a season 2 is well warranted and well deserved. And then number 3, if you would make a tragic character in Pokemon, what would be the setting? I know it's a cliche, but I would probably go with a post-war wasteland, like loss in a war of some kind, of Pokemon War, the Great Pokemon War. It reignites, and this character has lost everything, having to navigate this cruel, tough world. I know it's a cliche, and that trope is done multiple times, but I would just like to see that because, post-apocalyptic Pokemon, what more could you ask for? And, yeah, I know Pokemon's delved into it a little bit, not too entirely deep, but it would just be something that I would love to see them tackle and get deep into. But anyway, I hope that answered your questions. Again, I wish you well in 2024 as well, and I hope you had a great 2023. I'm just going to go ahead and go with Roges3352. Yeah, I don't want to butcher the first part of that again even more. So yeah, anyway, I hope that answered your questions. Have an awesome 2024, and we'll talk to you again soon. All right, next up we have Jethawk74. I love the 74 at the end of the name. I just want to throw that out there right now. So anyway, Jethawk74, your 3 questions. Number 1, I know fan fiction has been on hiatus for your channel. Do you believe it hard to come up with an idea that wouldn't work to make it come true with characters that appear in the series? 2, with Liko, the first female protagonist in Pokemon Horizons. And before I finish, I just want to tap into something that was said in an earlier comment. Pokemon's gotten on the bandwagon with a female protagonist. Come on, Yu-Gi-Oh! Get your head in the game. Yeah, so first female protagonist in Pokemon Horizons. Can you name any female protagonists that will fit Liko as like a sister to her she never had? Which would fit a team with Liko to be a part of Pokemon Heroine? And 3, what are your favorite games of 2023? I hope you enjoy your time, and for 2024, this next year, good luck. Okay, thank you, Jedhawk. First up, for your number one question, with fanfiction being on hiatus for your channel, do you believe it's hard to come up with an idea that wouldn't work to make it come true? No, that's not necessarily it, to be honest with you. A couple of months, well, I can't even really say a couple months ago. It was last year. I lost the laptop that I did all of my channel creation on. It had finally crapped out, and it was like the crappy college laptop that I had when I first went into college the first time. And it had finally crapped out, and it had all the software that I was used to using to make fan fiction videos. So after that went away, and I couldn't find the software anymore because they didn't make it anymore, they didn't support it anymore, it just became more troublesome than what it was worth to be able to make fan fiction videos, I hate to say. I don't mean that to sound snobby. I mean that to say that I really just, after losing the software that I used for so long and I was used to it, I really didn't want to take the time to learn a new software. That being said, I actually did find a mod that will duplicate that software. I found that a couple of months ago, actually, and I was super excited that I actually got it to work. Because once it did work, I was all on board. I was like, okay, I've got this old software on my computer. I actually know how to use it. I can rock and roll. I can do this again. But I also had to come to the realization that I also have another fan fiction currently going on, and I need to finish that one first. I'm never really good with focusing on two things at once. So yeah, I think once Alicization Reloaded is over, I might go back into doing videos. I can't necessarily promise that just because of how time-consuming they are to make, but I really would like to do that again, and that kind of explains the hiatus. Your second question, with Liko as first female protagonist in Pokemon Horizons, can I name any female protagonists that will fit Liko, or treat her like a sister to her? Okay, I don't know if we're going to be talking about the current generation or past generation Pokemon anime. Are we talking like the Ash generation? If we're talking that, I could see several of Ash's former companions taking a liking to Liko and becoming sisters-like with them and basically creating a heroine group. Serena and Lily would be the first two that would come to my mind. As far as females in this generation of anime, I really can't say that I do right off the top of my head. Naomi would probably be the closest one I could think of, but even that would be a stretch because we haven't seen enough of her, in my opinion. But yeah, I hope that answered your question. I'm not trying to skate around it. I just don't know exactly what you meant. And then your third question, what was my favorite games of 2023? So I've got a couple here. First of all, we have the Last Recollection series game for Sword Art Online. That was a real banger. I really enjoyed that one. I've also been big into Diablo, which I've never been into that series before, but when Diablo 4 dropped, my significant other told me, you're going to play this with me, and I actually started playing it and actually got knee-deep into it. She plays it on her Xbox, I play it on my PlayStation, but yeah, so I actually jumped onto the Diablo bandwagon this year, and I gotta say, it actually was not half bad. Am I going to run out and play all the other ones? I doubt it, but Diablo 4, not bad. Okay, and next up and last up, we have Grenade Man 1. And your three questions were, 1, what was your favorite childhood animated series, counting anime as well? As a lad, mine was Batman, the animated series. 2, what was the most difficult occupation that you ever had? And 3, what are your thoughts on the current state of the Pokemon anime so far? Now that Ash is no longer the main protagonist, I may have asked one of these questions before, and that's perfectly okay. first question is, what was your favorite childhood animated series, counting anime as well? Close toss-up. I had a lot of different tastes and bizarre fascinations with animated series when I was younger. I would have to say that probably the two that stick out the most in my head were both Yu-Gi-Oh! Duel Monsters and the Ben 10 franchise were two of the big ones that stuck out in my head. I loved those both, but and I actually, on a side note about Ben 10, I have recently discovered the Ink Tank and their 5YL, and I am absolutely hooked on that. That is fantastic. If you guys ever were into that kind of thing, I would highly recommend looking that up. That was just fantastic in my opinion, and I'm super excited that they're continuing on with that. Number two, what was the most difficult occupation you've ever had? Now, I've had a lot of jobs. I've worked at fish hatcheries. I've worked as a school bus driver. I've worked a little bit of retail, not much retail. I've worked as a police officer, paramedic. I've had a lot of interesting jobs over the years. I would say that the most difficult occupation that I ever had, as far as mentally, I would have to say being a paramedic. Well, actually, you know what? I take that back. Paramedic would probably be tied with school bus driver, just because you wouldn't think that a school bus driver would be a job that would be so gosh darn stressful and hard and stressful. But from what I've heard from friends of mine that actually still do drive buses and old coworkers of mine, the kids have just gotten worse every single year. I couldn't even fathom it. Back when I was doing it, I was about ready to pull my hair out, and I was just telling myself, you're doing this to pay your way through college. You're doing this to pay your way through college. But I can only imagine what they're like now, especially after post-COVID. Oh my gosh, I'd have to say that's right up there with being a paramedic for the most mentally taxing. As far as physically taxing, I would actually have to say working at the fish hatchery was, just because you did almost everything. You did a lot of shoveling and scraping. You did a lot of driving. You did a lot of cleaning. You did a lot of this and a lot of that. It was just physically a really demanding job. So yeah, I would say that those would probably be my most difficult professions. I would even argue being a cop is an easier cakewalk than being a school bus driver, but that's just me. Okay, and then number three, what are your thoughts on the current state of the Pokemon anime so far, now that Ash is no longer the main protagonist? I believe I said something to this effect a couple questions back. Overall, positive things, nothing but positive things to say. It's had a couple of hiccups, but I mean, come on, what new series hasn't? Overall, I'd say the positives greatly outweighed the negatives, and I'm really looking forward to the Pokemon Horizons anime. It's just a refreshing breath of fresh air. Really not going to knock it, not really going to praise it, but because we're still early on in it, but so far nothing but positive things to say. So anyway, Grenade Man, those were your questions. I hope I answered them, and I hope you have an amazing 2024 and had a great 2023. Jethawk, if I hadn't said about the same to you, again, I reiterate that I mean this to everybody. And with that, everybody, that is everybody's questions for the annual hashtag AskTemplar74 end of year Q&A for 2023. Again, I just want to thank everybody that left questions here and chose to interact with this video. As I've said multiple times, and I still hold it true, this is one of my favorite video series to do the entire year. But yeah. That being said, again, thank you so much for those that commented. Thank you for those supporters that didn't comment or didn't have questions, but still support the channel behind the scenes. I'm hoping to keep things upbeat and keep doing things in 2024 with your guys' support, of course. And yeah, I hope everybody had a good 2023 and will have an amazing 2024. And with that, everybody, I don't want to ramble any longer. So, as always, Templar74 signing off, everybody. Have a great day and talk to you all next time. Goodbye, everybody.